Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Ghost and today we're going to be talking about destroyers in 2024. So yeah, we're going to go over all of the tech tree destroyers, at least what each nation is kind of unique about. So like the Americans, the Japanese, the British, we're going to go over all the nations, kind of talk about their unique stuff and what their playstyles are, at least from what I have gathered over the past 4 years of playing this game. And we'll even cover some like bureau ships that you can get, destroyers in the bureau, most of them being legendary destroyers. And then obviously we will talk about some of the premium destroyers and whatnot. So yeah, just keep in mind this is probably going to be a bit of a lengthy video. These videos are pretty lengthy because we're covering a pretty wide topic, right? I want to try to be as in-depth as possible. We're covering basically just destroyers in general. So yeah, anyway. Nonetheless, as you guys can see here, right now I got the gameplay over here, the USS Black. This is an American destroyer. This is an American premium destroyer, to be exact. The first thing I always try to cover is the difference between a premium ship and a regular tech tree ship. The way you can tell the difference is, number one, looking in the top left, below the game mode, you see your ship name and it says premium, right? Then you look at this ship right here, the Fletcher. This is just a regular ship. It's white. So usually premiums are highlighted in gold. Tech trees are highlighted obviously in white. Now if you want to get the tech trees, you just got to go into the tech tree, right? And you can research things. Everything, you start off at the beginning. Almost in every nation, you start off with the Tier 1 cruiser, you work your way to the Tier 2, and then you can work your way up to the destroyer lines. Every nation pretty much has the same concept, and you just research them all the way up. You just play them, earn XP, and you can unlock them. So hopefully this video can help some of you guys out if you're wanting to go down your first destroyer line, or you're just wanting something fun to watch. Because, Legends players love to share their knowledge about the game, and, we love to tell things to each other we already know. But, no, seriously, I hope some of you guys do enjoy the video nonetheless. But, yeah, first off, the American destroyers. So, what I have found over the past 4 years of playing, the American destroyers are all about the guns. They are gunboat destroyers. Now, some of you might be asking, well, what is a gunboat destroyer? Well, a gunboat is exactly what it says. A gunboat. You're supposed to be shooting your guns. These destroyers come with lots of firepower, quick loading, really good close range to medium range combat. These destroyers are very good at hunting down other destroyers and just dakking. Dakka meaning lots of firepower. Every time you shoot your gun, it's dakka. It's supposed to be a funny term that a lot of destroyer players use. Mainly gunboat destroyer players. So they're really fun. I always love them. The only area where they struggle in is they don't have sonar like a lot of the other nations do. I say a lot. Only a couple other nations really have sonar, and they don't have radar or anything like some of the nations we'll cover later. But they have good guns. And also they lack torpedoes. I mean, they do have torpedoes, but they're not as good as like Japanese or German or British or any other nation's torpedoes. They're not the greatest torpedoes, especially on the early tier ones like the Mayhan and the Farragut. These guys only have like 5 to 6 kilometer torpedoes. So really, these are just close-range gunfighters. You can also pop your smoke screens. Speaking of smoke screens, American destroyers have the best smoke screens in the game in terms of duration. You can basically pop a big fart cloud and sit in it for like 2 minutes. I'm not even over-exaggerating. That's real. Look at that. Smoke screen dispersion time. 115 seconds. That's 5 seconds off of 2 minutes. You're sitting in smoke for 155 seconds, baby. Yeah. It's, I say 155 seconds. It's 1 minute and 55 seconds. So yeah, really fun gunboats. And the American destroyers are just my favorite destroyers in the game. They're awesome. Okay, Fletcher has insane dakka gunboat potential here. 2.7 second reload on my build. This thing is just a blast. And I have a premium version of a Fletcher. It's a black. It's another Fletcher class destroyer. And this has radar. It's actually the only American destroyer in the entire game to have radar. So this even makes it even better. And the black also has some really unique torpedoes as well. They're slow as hell. They go 43 knots. I call them sea turtles, or a lot of people call them sea mines because they travel so slow in the water. It's like getting hit by a sea mine. That's kind of the joke. But they hit like fucking freight trains. Look at that damage. 21,000. It's insane. So yeah, American destroyers, though, all around, good, great guns. Lots of DACA potential. Yeah, that's basically why I like them. They're just great gunboats. And they do have okay torpedoes, but they're not the greatest in the world, obviously. Now, moving on to the Japanese line. So taking a look over at the Japanese destroyers. I don't have many of them, but I can say without a doubt, these are the ninja boat, torpedo boats, okay? They are sneaky, and they are stealthy. Same thing. And they have some of the best torpedoes in the game. Japanese destroyers. Let's take a look at the Udachi, for example, okay? This thing has stupid torpedoes, all right? But before we do that, we'll just go take a look at the tech tree. There's actually two different tech trees. So there's the top one here. The top tech tree is a torpedo boat focused tech tree. The bottom one is mainly the gunboat focused one. You won't be really getting many gunboat features out of these destroyers in the bottom tech tree here until you get to Akazuki and Kitakaze. Akazuki and Kitakaze have fantastic guns, but Shiriatsuyu, Hatsuharu, Minakaze, Wakatake, basically everything except the Akazuki and the Kitakaze, they're all torpedo boats. Okay, they're stealthy ninja torpedo boats. If that's your playstyle, good on you. For example, the Tier 8 Yugamo here. If we take a look at the base torpedoes, I don't go down the Japanese line too much for the torp boats. They're not my thing, but if you're wanting to feel dirty and you feel lucky to get some torpedo hits, these are great destroyers for you. If you just want to absolutely smack people with literal freight trains as torpedoes, yeah, the Japanese are going to be your thing. 20,000 damage, 67 knots speed, really good range on the torpedoes. All around, the Japanese are just torp boats. They're monsters. They have really good potential. The only area where the Japanese torpedo boats struggle in is the guns, obviously. Most of them, Fubuki and Akatsuki, Kagero, Yugumo, they do have 6 5-inch guns, but they reload really long, like 10 to 5 seconds between there, depending on the tier and whatnot. So yeah, they're not great in the gunboat category, but they are great in the torpedo category, and that's what a lot of you might be interested in. A lot of people love these torp boats. I used to really like playing the Japanese torp boats until I, discovered American guns and American gunboats, and then I've converted. I converted. I love gunboats, man. They're more consistent. I can hunt other destroyers down and just rule the lobby. American torpedo boats. American gunboats mainly are super, super fun in terms of guns. Japanese are the complete opposite. They are all about torpedoes and sneaking around. Now, moving on to the British. The British are kind of like, I think of these guys as like the jack of all trades here. Get it, Jack? Union Jack? Anyway. Seriously, though. They're good at everything. The British destroyers, pretty much, once you get to Icarus and up, these guys have they just have everything. They've got a little bit of guns. They got a little bit of torpedoes. They got everything. Now, the unique thing about the British torpedo boats are really just destroyers. I'm not going to call them torpedo boats because they can do a lot of things. The unique thing about them is they have sonar. Once you get to Tier 5, these guys get sonar, which is unique. Each and every one of them. The Icarus, the Jervis, the Lightning, and the... what's the other one? The Jutland. They all get sonar. And they get a unique thing with the torpedoes called basically single firing their torpedoes. They can fire their torpedoes sequentially. I think that's what they call them, right? Yeah. Torpedoes can be launched one by one. So you can literally send one here, one there, 2 or 3 there, 3 there. You can put out a lot of torpedoes in very specific areas if you're wanting to do that. If you want more control over your torpedoes, and you also do have decent guns, decent gunfighting capabilities, right? So the British are really strong in that area. They're good at guns, and they're good at torpedoing. They have decent concealment, and they do have a unique smoke generator. Most of the British destroyers have like a short duration smoke screen, but they have a lot of them. At least on my build, for example, like on my Icarus right now, I did get rid of my other freaking destroyers. I was trying to get some things back, but I'll be buying those back later. Tech trees you can always buy back, so I'm not too worried about it. But Well, the thing I love about my, obviously the Icarus here is the thing that makes it so damn good is, for example, my commander here, Reginald Tyrwhitt. I run Smogathon, so he gives me an extra 2 smoke screens. So I can literally pop a smoke, run away, pop a smoke again, pop a smoke again. Literally, I can continuously pop smoke screens. They're short duration, they only last about 40 seconds, but I can pop them anytime I want. It's really nice. So yeah, British destroyers, all around, really fun, really good. They're really competitive. A lot of good destroyer players are going to be playing these. And, yeah, they're really strong. Do like them. They are pretty damn good. So, yeah, British destroyers, all around, really solid. Now, we're moving on to the other nation, the Germans. These guys are also the kind of the same. Kind of the same as the Germans, or as the British. They're kind of all around solid, except they are more better in one category. Sonar. Okay, these guys also get sonar at tier 5 and up. At least on the top tech tree, there's actually 2 tech trees. They have the top tech tree, which are sonar-focused destroyers, and then the bottom one here are like big, mini, almost mini cruiser, big gun destroyers. They all have like 6-inch guns. I'm not super experienced into them. All I know is they don't have sonar. They got pretty bad torpedoes, but they do have big guns and they're really accurate. So if that's your thing, I mean, you might like them as a gunboater. I haven't even played them yet, really. I don't have much experience with them, so I can't really give you guys an opinion on them, but from what I've heard, they have really good AP and they can absolutely obliterate things like broadside cruisers. They literally have light cruiser guns. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can go all the way up the German regular tech tree and then go down here into this tech tree. But for today, we'll be covering these guys because I do have a bit more experience with them. So the Gade here, for example, you have German sonar. German sonar is like the best sonar in the game, 4-kilometer detection of ships, and the excuse me, and the torpedo detectability 2.8 kilometers. For example, the British, they have pretty bad sonar. Excuse me. They only have 3.5-kilometer detection of ships and 2.5-kilometer detection of torpedoes. So the Germans have the better sonar. They also do have pretty good guns as well. For example, the Gade does get access to 150 millimeter 6-inch guns. So there's that. You can also take those off and you can put on the regular 120 millimeter guns in case you're wanting a faster reload. But yeah, the Germans are kind of weird, okay? Once you get to the Moss and the Z23 and the Z46, I think they all just come with the regular 5-inch guns. But you get that option with the Gade to swap it out. But yeah, overall, these guys are like basically good at torpedoes. They got quick loading torpedoes. They don't do as much damage as like the British or Japanese or the French that's going to be coming up. But they have good reload on the torps. They can get torps out pretty quick. They got decent guns. They got decent smoke screens too. The smoke screens on these guys are about the same as the Japanese. They're really not anything special. They're just regular smoke screens that last about a minute. And they're sonar DDs, so you can literally pop your sonar and sit in a smoke screen and potentially kill some destroyers that way. They're great at smoke sonar combos. So yeah, German destroyers, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. They're not my thing personally. I do sometimes hop into them and play them a little bit, but one thing I find as well, I forgot to mention, is they're a little bit slower. They feel pretty clunky, at least the Gade. That might get fixed when you get up the higher tiers. I haven't gone fully down that tech tree yet, but overall, the German destroyer is pretty solid. A lot of people like these as well. If you're playing competitive and whatnot, these are really strong destroyers. Now, moving on to the French. I don't have a lot of experience in these once again. I do occasionally hop in like a tier 5 Gepard or even a Jaguar just for the memes. But so far, from what I can tell, these little guys are all about fast. These destroyers are stupid quick. They've got really hard-hitting torpedoes. In fact, I think once you get to the higher tiers, the torpedoes almost hit as hard as Japanese torpedoes do. So you're going to be speeding around the map going 40, 50, 60 knots plus. And you're going to be dishing out torpedoes, and you do have pretty good guns as well. The only thing you don't have is smoke screens. These guys don't have access to smoke screens. Now, some of them, like the premium ones, some of the premium ones do, but for the most part, none of them do. The tech trees, nah. They don't have any smoke screens, and they're just all about going out there, speeding around the map, using those guns, using those torpedoes. That's basically from what I can gather. Overall, not the biggest fan of them because they don't have smoke screens. I do like to have the ability to pop a smoke and run away, but to each their own. These destroyers, really strong torpedoes. Like, for example, even on the Gepard, decent torpedoes here. The guns are really big size as well for guns. They're like 139mm guns. They're just about 5.5-inch guns, I would say. So pretty damn good guns. Decent reload. Oh yeah, and some of them also have reload boosters. Actually, all of them get reload boosters, tier 5 and up. That's their unique thing. Excuse me for the coughs in this video. Something's wrong with my throat. There's always something wrong with my throat when I'm trying to freaking record a video. Pardon me. But yeah, they have reload boosters. So yeah, pretty viable gunboats as well. And one thing too to point out, they all have pretty high hit points. Like, they're fast, they've got good hit points, they got decent guns, decent torpedoes. So if this is your thing, you like speeding around the map and all that, especially when you get to the higher tiers like the Fantasque and the Mogador, the Kleber, the legendary tier 1, you're going to have a lot of fun with these guys. To me, though, they're just not my thing. Now the Japanese, the USSR. So these guys, I don't have a lot of experience with them as well. From what I can tell, they're long-range gunfighters. The Russian destroyers are all about long-range gunfighting. They have flat trajectory shells, so you can be more viable at like past 7 kilometers with these guns. And you can do some weird builds and like get some high fire chances on them. Or if you know, that's the top tech tree here mainly. These guys are about the guns, but the bottom tech tree, they're more about torpedoes. So really, once again, I don't know a lot about these guys, but from what I can tell, they have pretty standard smoke. They're pretty fast, and overall, they have pretty decent guns and pretty decent torpedoes. So that's really about it. I couldn't really tell you much else. Oh yeah, and some of them get heals. Yeah, I forgot to mention. Weird enough, some of them do get heals. Like Udaloy gets one, Kiev gets one. At least in that line. I don't know if the top tech tree does. But yeah, these guys are a little weird. So you just kind of have to play around with them. They're good gunboats, especially at farther ranges, because they have flatter trajectory shells, higher velocity rounds, so they get to the target quicker and whatnot. So yeah, overall, these guys are pretty just weird. They're weird. I can't really explain it. They're not bad. You can have really fun games in these things, but overall, I'm not the biggest fan of them. But yeah, that's the USSR. They're just weird. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about some of these upcoming nations. And now, speaking of upcoming, this one's pretty new. Came out a few months ago, I think. The Italian destroyers. Once again, I don't have a lot of experience with these guys, but from what I can tell, they all have SAP. So that's something completely new. They all have semi-armor piercing shells. It's exactly what it sounds like. Basically, these shells don't overpen. They don't overpen at all. So you're able to absolutely smack the crap out of broadside destroyers and get full penetration damage on those destroyers. Pretty nasty stuff. Also, you do have decent torpedoes as well. And most of them are pretty long-range torpedoes as well. The only downside, like on the... I think it's the same for the high tiers. They're slow. They're slow torpedoes, but they go super far, and they have a pretty quick reload as well. You combine that with your decent guns, and you have exhaust smoke generators. You're going to be speeding around the map. You're going to be dumping out torpedoes. You're going to be smacking people with the SAP shells. And you're going to be popping these exhaust smoke generators where you can potentially YOLO some people. If you guys are wondering what an exhaust smoke generator is, well, it's basically you can pop a smoke and it basically, you can be going full speed and the smoke screen keeps up with you. It's pretty hilarious. So you can do some weird stuff with that. Also, the engine boosts, they are improved. So they are better engine boosts. They give you more speed, so you can get a boost of speed even more so than the other ones. So yeah, they have improved engine boosts. The only downside with these engine boosts, since they give you more speed, it lasts a little bit shorter. So yeah, overall, once again, I don't have a whole lot of knowledge in these Italian destroyers. I can't really give you a full, definitive opinion about them yet. But yeah, overall, they're fast. They got decent guns, decent torpedoes, I guess, and they have unique exhaust smoke generaters. So, yeah. Now, the Pan-European line. So far, the Pan-Euros only have one line. It's their destroyer line, pretty much. These guys are good at guns. They're good at torpedoes, and most of them have good AA. Good AA once you get to the Skane. The Skona. Pretty damn good gunboats. Pretty damn good torpedo boats. They're also pretty quick as well. They have access to heals too. They're one of those unique lines that have heals. So yeah, One thing I'll mention, though, with the torpedoes, they're kind of like the Italians, except they're stupid quick. So they have low damage, but these torpedoes go out really far, and they're stupid fast. And they have increased flood chances as well, I think. So, yeah. Good gunboats, really fast freaking torpedoes, like 76 knots plus. And, yeah. The only downside is you don't have smoke screens on basically all of these. Most of them, except the premium destroyer, the Friesland. That one does get some smoke screens, but you don't have torpedoes on that. That's just a full-on gunboat, fun boat. Love that destroyer, by the way. But yeah, anyway, that's the Pan-Euros. Really also don't have a whole lot of experience in them, but from what I can tell, I've played quite a bit of them. They're pretty much gunboats, torp boats. They're a whole bunch of things. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory there. And finally, the Pan-Asian line. Once again, I don't have a whole lot of experience with these guys, but I can tell you right now, they have access to deep water torpedoes. So these torpedoes cannot hit destroyers. So they can basically hit anything else. They can hit cruisers, they can hit battleships. They do improved damage. They have higher chances of causing floods, and they're more stealthier. So you're not going to see these torpedoes until they're right on you. So yeah, pretty dangerous torpedoes. Also, these torpedoes have a different icon, so when you see them coming at you, they're going to be a circle instead of a triangle. So destroyers, if you see one of these torpedoes, you don't have to worry. They won't hit you. But these deep water torpedoes will hit any other cruiser. One thing I'll mention too, most of the Pan-Asian destroyers have really good guns. Most of them are pretty good gunboats. And once you start getting to the higher tiers, you have the option of putting on radars. So yeah, this is the only destroyer line, right now at least, that allows you to plop on radars, tier 6 and up. So pretty damn unique right there. So yeah, overall, that's all the tech trees. Just a quick rundown of everything. I know it wasn't perfect. I do need to, like, kind of, you know, try to keep it short for video purposes. It's still going to be a long video nonetheless, but I can't spend 5, 10, 15 minutes talking about each destroyer line in depth. We would be here for an hour or two, right? And now finally, we're going to move over to the premium ships of each nation, mainly the premium destroyers and what they're about. Because the premium destroyers are kind of, they have their own gimmicks. They're kind of different. Like American destroyers and the tech tree are all about gunboats, but there's not, basically all American destroyers, especially the premium ones, aren't necessarily gunboats. Some of them are different. So let's first go over to the Hill. The Hill, I'll already say it, this thing's a gunboat. It's a gunboat, it's a fun boat, it's very similar to the Farragut, so we're not even going to go into that. Hill is a gunboat. Monahan is also kind of a gunboat, but it also has it has improved torpedoes. It's got better torpedoes, so that's one thing too about the Monahan. Monahan has like increased torpedo range. Like if you take a look, the Monahan has like, yeah, actually no. I think there's an upgrade though that you can put on that allows you to, yeah, you can put on this upgrade and increases your torpedo range to 9 kilometers. So yeah, Monahan has improved torpedoes. It gets one less gun though, so it only has 4 5-inch guns instead of the classic 5 5-inch guns that most of the American destroyers have. So there's that. Obviously the Kid. The Kid is a Fletcher. If you know anything about the Fletchers, I have this one. Love this destroyer. It's a gunboat. Gunboat all the way, every day, 6 waves from Sunday. It has horrible torpedoes. It's only got 1 rack of torpedoes. The torpedoes go out to like medium range. They're horrible. Don't depend on them. But this thing is a massive gunboat. Love it. So much fun. Kid's great. And I think that's really about it. There's a Sims. This one's also kind of like the Monahan. It has improved torpedo capabilities. The Benham, also really fun. Has lots of torpedoes. The Benham was a campaign ship at one point. It has literally 8 torpedoes per side. Look at that. And they go out pretty far as well. So yeah, Benham is a full-on torpedo boat. And also the Charles FUs, this one's also kind of the same way. It's got decent torpedoes, I think. No, it's actually kind of like a gunboat. Okay, so it's a gunboat, basically. So it's like basically a mini Farragut. I don't know. At tier 6. Interesting. But yeah, that's the Americans. Moving on to the Japanese. Really, there's nothing to say here. Most of the Japanese destroyers in here, Udachis, they're all torpedo boats. Okay. The UK, same deal here, except the Cossack 38. I do have the Cossack 38. This thing is a gunboat. Full-on gunboat. It does have 1 rack of medium to long-range torpedoes, but they reload pretty long. But yeah, Cossack is a gunboat, pretty much. It doesn't have sonar either, I don't think. I don't think the Cossack gets sonar. Yeah, no. She don't get sonar like her other tech tree, so it's a little bit more different than her tech trees. Regular Cossack, I think, has an extra torpedo launcher, if I'm not mistaken. No, it only has one rack. Okay. So, yeah, this is also, I think, like, it's a different destroyer all around. Very interesting. Oh, it does have sonar, though. Okay. So there's that. So regular Cossack does have sonar. The Gallant is basically, literally, it's a freaking, it's basically the tier 5 tech tree, just premium, and with some minor differences. Also, and that's it. That's basically it. So yeah, the British, not that interesting. Moving on to the Germans, the ZF6, full-on gunboat, does have some pretty good torps too. Elbing, full-on gunboat, also has some pretty decent torps as well. And Z39, it's kind of like just basically classic German stuff. There's really no differences here. T61, really strong destroyer. I do recommend it. Overall, pretty much takes after what all the Germans do. They're sonar-focused destroyers. Pretty much all these guys have sonar, I think, as well. Almost. I don't know if the Elbing does. Does the Elbing get sonar? No, it doesn't. See, Elbing does not have sonar. I don't think the ZF6 does either. No, so these guys don't get sonar. But I know the Z35, really strong, like one of the best sonar-focused DDs in the game. Yeah, Z35, Z39, and the T61, all sonar smoke combo destroyers. Moving on to the French. The French, the Le Terrible. This is basically a Le Fantasque at tier 6. It's great. Fast, move. It's basically literally a tech tree put at premium, but better in a lot of ways. This thing's a beast. It just goes around the map super fast. Great torpedoes, great guns, great HP. All around really solid. And I think that's like the only one they got. The Russians, from what I'm aware, the Leningrad is basically like every other Russian DD. It's got okay torpedoes, I think. I haven't played it. Yeah, it does have okay torpedoes. Also, the guns are pretty good as well. And overall, Leningrad, just pretty much weird, like most of the Russian line. They got good guns and good torpedoes, I guess. So, that, all around pretty solid there. Okhotnik is also a meme. I love this little tier 4 destroyer. I need to buy it back eventually. But it has, we call it the murder sausage for a reason. It's so funny. Because look at this thing. It's got all the guns in the world on it. It's got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guns in the rear. And it's got 2 more in the front. And it's got a fuck ton of torpedoes in the center. 3, 6, 9, and 12 torpedoes. They're really short-range torps. This thing's a meme. So yeah, the War Canoe, aka the Murder Sausage, stupid fun little destroyer. I need to pick that thing up again. I completely forgot about it. The Italians, really nothing too special here. The Paolo Emilio, though, this thing, from what I'm aware, it's notorious for just YOLOing. It's nicknamed the YOLO Emilio for a reason. It has stupid, and I mean stupid, hard-hitting torpedoes. Like the hardest-hitting torpedoes in the entire game, almost. These torpedoes hit like trucks. Freight trains going 100 plus, okay? This thing also does have really good smoke generator as well, exhaust smoke, and it has pretty good guns. And it literally has, stupid HP. This thing is a literal YOLO boat. It just YOLOs everything. It's notorious for that. And yeah, basically, same deal. Lo Yang, really strong as well. Lo Yang has stupid good sonar, like the best sonar in any DD in the game. 5.4 kilometer sonar, pretty much one of the best sonars in any DD in the game. I think the Z35 still takes the king of sonar DDs. But yeah, Lo Yang also pretty good torpedo boat, pretty good gunboat, great sonar smoke combo capabilities there. Anshan, good guns, good torpedoes. They're, of course, deep water torpedoes. And the Pan-Europeans, the Oland, really good. It's basically the Oland is like a Ostergotland, but put at tier 6, really strong. The Orkan is a gunboat-focused destroyer. It has radar. Friesland, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. Friesland has stupid freaking good guns. It has the fastest fire rate in the game. It's got one 5-inch gun mount in the front and one 5-inch gun mount in the back. 4 guns in total. 2 dual-purpose guns there. And they are just ridiculous, okay? They really are. 1.8 second base reload. You can get it down to 1.4, 1.3. Literally, the Daka on this thing is ridiculous. It's also like one of the only destroyers in the game. I think it is the only destroyer in the game that doesn't have torpedoes. So it's just a freaking fun gunboat. And that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, no gameplay for today, but I just wanted to go into all of the destroyers in this game and kind of just give you guys a little bit of a rundown and what you guys can be expecting. Yeah, let me know in the comments below what your guys' favorite destroyer line is. Mine, personally, the American destroyers. I absolutely love my American destroyers. You guys are going to see a trend if I continue to post videos on these summarizations here. Oops, what am I doing here? I want to go over to my American destroyers. But yeah, American DD is my favorite in the game. Oh, that's right, I forgot one more thing. You guys can research a lot of these legendary ships, these legendary destroyers in the Bureau, like the Holland. I already have a lot of them researched, but you can research the Shimakaze. Right down here, you can research the Gearing. You can research the Khabarovsk, the Kleber. These are all researchable destroyers, and the Daring as well. Lots of great legendary tier destroyers as well that basically are like the tech trees, but just better because they're the highest tier in the game. And obviously, there are some I forgot to mention in the last video that I was doing, but you can also come in here and buy a, where is it? I think it's here, right? Yeah, recommended tab. You can buy some of these Bureau projects. Like some Bureau projects you have to buy with credits, like the Zhao project is locked right here. You can only get it in the shop. So, yeah, also there's all of them right here. I'm a dummy. If you go to the ships tab, there's the Bureau tab in the ships tab. There's the Zhao, the Schlieffen, the Midway, and the Hakuryu. So, lots of options, too, for legendary ships to research. If you guys are wondering how to get legendary ships, that's how you do it. You got to go into the Bureau and do it through there. But nonetheless, this video has gone on for long enough. I hope y'all did enjoy it. If you guys did, be sure to go down there and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And remember, guys, you guys are more than welcome to pause and go back at any time. This video is not going anywhere. Y'all are also welcome to go down in the comments and leave stuff down there as well. But nonetheless, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace out. Stay healthy, as always.